me clear my throat. We're going to do this one more time. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, New Orleans Saints fans. And this is Night Talk. And yes, it's a random night talk. And I'm just going to give a little count because we're getting ready. The host of the Baddest Sports Show podcast, EJ, he's not here tonight, and I am the co-host. But tonight we're going to talk about training camp, and we're getting excited. It's getting very close. It's getting very close. I mean, very close. We're about um, like literally a week away. Literally. And for those who are Saints fans, you have to be excited about this team. And I know that we have a lot of naysayers, even in some of our favorite podcasters, even in some of our favorite podcasters. And some of the things, shout out to Travis. And sometimes, you know, I understand that you want to be realistic, and Saints fans love a straight shooter. All Saints fans love straight shooters. That's one thing about it. You love honesty. I respect honesty. But over here with the Baddest Sports Show podcast, we're gonna give you honesty, and we're also gonna give you optimistic. We want you to be optimistic about your team. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in the views, we get caught up in who's listening to us, and we just want to get the attention. Well, so if I just throw out some false hope, or if I throw off negativity, it's going to draw more to my channel. And we see that with other podcasters. So it's easy for people to sit there, hey, Derek Carr is not the guy. We have seen these things. One of the guys, Matt, this guy named Matt, one of the great Saints podcasters, um, for the last 2 years, he was screaming Jameis Winston. He was screaming Jameis Winston. But he look at Andy Dalton and Derek Carr as the same. And I don't see nothing that tells me that Derek Carr is Andy Dalton. And sometimes we can look at stats, and stats don't tell the whole picture when it comes down to watching football. Stats does not make football. And it does not, it does not, it doesn't advance into winning. And it doesn't talk about the whole picture. Because when we talk about Derek Carr, we always talk about he's not a winner. We always talk about the Raiders, he had weapons on the offensive side of the ball. They gave him this, they gave him that on the offensive side of the ball. But I want most Saints fans to evaluate, did they actually give him a defense? And when you look at Derek Carr, Derek Carr have ever played with a functional defense? And I had to do my research. Derek Carr has never had a top 5 defense. Derek Carr has never had a top 10 defense. Derek Carr has never had a top 15 defense. Derek Carr has never had a top 18 defense in the NFL. can't win football games without defense. So one of these things that we were talking about, even the great Drew Brees, and people don't want to talk about these things because even the great Drew Brees, when we talk about Drew Brees with the New Orleans Saints during the time that the Saints were setting records because Drew Brees was setting unprecedented records because playing from behind is called stat making. So when we look at football, we look at stats. Oh, the guy threw for 5,000 yards. We've seen Jameis Winston throw for 5,000 yards. We've seen Drew Brees throw the most 5,000 yards out of all of the great quarterbacks. But throwing 5,000 yards does not accumulate to winning. 5,000 yards is just stat making, and it does not accumulating to winning. So most of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, they don't throw for many yards. It's called a balanced attack when we talk about football. And sometimes we get lazy as fans and we dissect things. We sit there and we look and we dissect and we look and we decide. We love numbers. Most fans love numbers. And numbers don't tell it all when it comes down to winning football games. Drew Brees had I think, like 3 to 4 of his seasons passing for 5,000 yards. But the times that he threw 5,000 yards, the Saints did not make the playoffs, not one time. The Saints did not make the playoffs. The Saints were not competing for a championship. They were not competing for the division. But the times that Drew Brees threw for under 5,000 yards and the team was balanced, the Saints were competing for the division, winning the division, and actually winning the Super Bowl. So when I miss me with the fact of 5,000 yards, that is not impressing to me in football. So when people tell me about Jameis throwing 5,000 yards, that really doesn't make me, because you're playing from behind. And the Saints have lost every time they have had a 5,000-yard passer. But when they were balanced in football, the Saints were competitive and they had a running game. And we're getting away from that. Some of us who watch football, it's all about the sexy look. It's all about the sexy look. Sometimes we look at stats and we play fantasy football. Shout out to Dirt. And sometimes that's what we do. We watch fantasy football, we play fantasy football, and we see these guys, and we don't look at the complete part of the game. When we talk about the complete part of the game, we're talking about defense and offense. And I look at, and I had to go do my evaluation of Derek Carr, and I had to look at it as objective. When I look at some of these other podcasters, they're very lazy in their homework overall watching what the quarterback has done. When Drew Brees played in San Diego, Drew Brees was on a leash. Marty Schottenheimer had him on the leash. And you look at Drew Brees when he became a New Orleans Saint, Sean Payton allowed Drew Brees to be able to sling that rock. And some of the things that we don't see, that shout out to Big Dog Philly. And I want people to understand this. And these are the things that we talk about football and we don't analyze the whole thing. Is it defense that are winning these games? When you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, that Jalen Hurts was not Jalen Hurts without a stellar defense. Jalen Hurts came on the scene, and Jalen Hurts were able, look at the Jalen Hurts before he became the Jalen Hurts of last year. Defense wins championships. Defense make you competitive. I don't give a damn how you want to put it. Some of you guys want to talk about fantasy football. You live on fantasy. And these are some of the things that we don't talk about. The Saints are putting together a team, and I just think that the biggest difference of watching Derek Carr is the fact that Derek Carr never played with a top 5 defense. Derek Carr never played with a top 10 defense. Derek Carr never played with a top 15 defense. He never played with a top 18 defense in the NFL. That's facts. And it's lazy journalism. It's lazy reporting when we sit up here and we look to wins and losses and we don't look at the whole picture. Shout out to the Bronze, Nas. It's lazy. And it's easy to predict a quarterback when you look at stats. But the whole part of football is winning football. You got to be able to run the football. You don't win. Look at the New Orleans Saints. When we talk about the New Orleans Saints on a Super Bowl run was the 6th overall team in the NFL in the running game. 6th overall in running the football. Efficiency. They had Lionel Hamilton, Mike Bell, Pierre Thomas, Reggie Bush, and they had a little bit of Deuce McAllister. That is winning football. That is winning football. When the Saints were effective, they were a balanced football team. The year that the New Orleans Saints were competing, they were great at running the football. 2011, Darren Sproles, Mark Ingram, Pierre Thomas, they were running the football. Reggie Bush, Darren Sproles, they were running the football. So all of these podcasters who are very lazy, and they're not talking about the full. It's not about making excuses. It's not about making excuses. It's about talking both of the elements. Why Derek Carr was not successful. Because picking up Adams is not you could pick up a wide receiver. That is not going to that's not the formula of winning football. If you don't have both sides of the ball, you can't win football games. And we've seen it with the great Drew Brees. We've seen it with Archie Manning. Archie Manning never played with a top defense. Archie Manning would have had multiple Super Bowls with the New Orleans Saints. He had never. Archie looked like pedestrian because he didn't have. Archie put up big numbers in New Orleans with thunder and lightning. But you can score, but if you don't have defense, you can't win. And don't tell me special teams and defense are not important in football. So I ask Saints fans to give this man a chance because the crazy part is that when you look at and I have also said this, and I rooted for Jameis Winston. I rooted because I'm a Saints fan. And if you're rooting against your team, you're not a Saints fan. I don't give a damn who the quarterback is. If you got a starting quarterback, I don't give a damn who becomes the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. If you're not a rooting for that guy, you're not a Saints fan. But then I have to be honest to myself. Was I ever confident in Jameis Winston? No, I have to be real with myself. I watched Jameis play with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 8 seasons, 7 to 8 seasons with the Buccaneers, and watch this guy come over to New Orleans. And he didn't show me nothing in Tampa Bay, and God damn it, he ain't show me nothing in New Orleans. And I don't care. A lot of Saints fans may not like what I'm saying on that. And it's just facts. He said, I don't know why Archie jersey is retired in a dome. That bastard sure. Well, I understand what you're saying, but Archie Manning was a damn good quarterback. Archie Manning played with the most sorriest defense in the NFL. Archie Manning played with the most sorriest football team in the NFL. Shit is Jersey be retired? I may not. But before there was the Drew Brees, before there was Bobby Abreu, Aaron Brooks, there was Archie Manning, and Archie Manning was the name that it was a brand. It was a brand. It was a brand. It was a brand. And you got to understand that Archie put up big numbers with a football team. And he played with he was drafted to the New Orleans Saints. He played with a horrible organization. And what do you expect? You know, you're not winning with that. And I understand your frustrations. I believe that Aaron Brooks and people give shit to Aaron Brooks. But I believe Aaron Brooks is the second best quarterback in New Orleans Saints history. I believe that. I believe the guy who won us our very first playoff game, and a lot of Saints fans may disagree with me. But I believe Aaron Brooks is the second best quarterback in New Orleans. I mean, look at Bobby Abreu. Nobody gave no Bobby Abreu no hell. Bobby Abreu played with the Dome Patrol. Bobby Abreu played with the Dome Patrol. What has Bobby done with the Dome Patrol? 4 times in the playoffs, 4 times failure. 4 times in the playoffs, 4 times failure. But y'all don't give the heat. But let the brother that keep the same energy. The brother win a playoff game. The brother goes to the playoff game and win a playoff game. And they keep talking about him throwing the ball backwards. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. And Archie did many of them backwards passes. It was many bloopers back in the days. But we cannot deny that Archie was one of the most talented quarterbacks in New Orleans Saints history. He just played with a poor organization. He played with a poor organization. And that's just, should he be in the Saints Hall of Fame? That's a question. Okay. Calvin said, I believe Jeff Blakes would have, Jeff Blakes wouldn't have got injured. That's a woulda, coulda injury. We all know that talent-wise, that young man, that Jeff Blakes was talent-wise was another Drew Brees. I believe that if Jeff would have never got hurt, he would have still been the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. I'm not talking about until Drew. I'm saying he would have been with the Saints for a very long time. But injuries happen in the NFL. Same thing with Jameis Winston. Same thing. It's a woulda, coulda, woulda shit. Some people talk about Jameis. If Jameis would have played last year, well, if he wasn't if he was healthy, we'd have gotten the playoff. It's a woulda, coulda, woulda shit. And I refuse to make an excuse about it. And at the end of the day, Aaron Brooks was not, once the Saints start losing free agent, losing Joe Horn, losing a lot of offensive linemen, then Aaron Brooks declined. You are with your team. You are with the talent around you. It's just facts. You are with the talent around you. And I'm telling you that Derek Carr defensively did not have a good team. Y'all think Tom Brady is so great? Tom Brady played with damn good defenses. Tom Brady is, we don't talk about how Tom Brady played with Willie McGinnis, Ty Law. He played with a lot of great, but Belichick was known for defense. We don't talk about he went to Tampa Bay and played with a stellar defense. You can't win football games with just offense. Offense do not just win football games. Defense win football games. Special teams win football games. And the Saints have been lackluster in both of them categories. Will Lutz have been injured, dealing with nagging injuries. And hopefully we're going to get him back. They say he's been great in the OTAs. And you just got to be real about it. The Saints losing Marcus Colston, losing Alvin Kamara for long times in the season hurt the Saints. You cannot win without your players, man. And that just is reality. It's not an excuse. It's just what it is. And I'm telling you that the New Orleans Saints, I am very optimistic. I like what the direction that this team is going. Mickey and them is building a great football team. They're going back. They're going to surround Derek Carr with the players that he needs to have. Derek Carr was underrated playing with the Oakland Raiders, the Los Angeles Raiders. They did not have a defense. If anybody want to debate me, just tell me about the defense. Don't tell me about Devontae Adams, coming over there. Devontae Adams coming over there. Yeah, you can have a wide receiver. That don't mean shit. You're in a shootout. Football is about defense. It has not changed. It's all about what happens at the front of the line of a scrimmage. Offensive line, defensive line. You don't win football games without a great offensive line and a great defensive line. And I just got to tell you that the Saints, it is what it is. I just really, if this is one year that New Orleans Saints fans should be more excited, it's this year. And I really think Sean Payton is an asshole. Because if Sean Payton would have stuck around, he would have another ring. And I think Dennis Allen, he would have, you jumped the gun, Sean Payton, not realizing the schedule. And the Saints are set up so well. They are going to be the sleeper in the NFC. Right now, I'm telling you, every year, there's a team that start off going to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl team don't repeat in the Super Bowl team that lost and the Super Bowl team that win don't primarily go back to the Super Bowl. And some Saints fans, we all jumping on the bandwagon of Philadelphia. Injuries happen in the NFL. I think the Saints, because of their soft schedule, this is the most softest schedule. And I know that they got to play the game. But if any Saints fans that thought that the window was closed, it's not closed. We have an opportunity to be in that number. And I'm all about positivity when it comes down to this group, when it comes down to this channel. I'm not like all these other channels that's just giving up. It's not about being real. It's about it's not about you think that because you're talking about you're speaking real and objective. That doesn't mean it's a fact. Before the player come in, you're ruling them out. I don't give a damn what he did in Oakland. I don't give a damn what he did in Las Vegas. It's all about what he's going to do in the black and gold. Because those are totally different situations. The Saints are playing a last place schedule. And you can't tell me Derek Carr is not the second best quarterback in the NFC, the total NFC. Derek Carr is better than half of the quarterbacks in the NFC. You don't believe me, you're going to see. And Derek Carr is going to have record numbers. And I think that the Saints are going to balance football. It's going to be a lot like you saw in 2011, a lot what you saw in the Super Bowl run. They're going to run the football. That's why they drafted the way they did. The Saints are going. Now, the rookie is not going to start right away. He's slow, they got him on a pup list. He's not going to be playing right away. He's still recovering from the surgery that he had in the national championship. He didn't play the national championship game. And I'm just telling you, they're going to be patient with him. And there are multiple guys, A.T. Perry, on the pup list. These were minor injuries. They will all be ready for training camp. So these were minor injuries. Okay? So don't panic, Saints fans. I like where we're going. We tired of hearing negative podcasters out here. Are you a Saints fan? I even heard a podcaster talking about he just believes that Carolina is the better team. I mean, goddamn. I mean, you just giving up on the Saints, period. And that's just my opinion. And I'm not for it. You heard me? So you guys have a blessed night. We getting ready for training camp. The host of this channel, we're gonna be ready. Okay, we're gonna be covering the New Orleans Saints all the way until the season. You make sure you tell everybody, subscribe and press a like to the Battle Sports Show podcast. And I want to thank all my the people who was with us from day one, Calvin, and a lot of you brothers, Dirk and all. You guys are great. You guys are great. Nas, all you guys are great. All of you guys. We're gonna give you guys the coverage. We're gonna be do the before and the after, like Who That Nation. We love you guys. Subscribe and press a like. We're gonna be opening up the panels. We are the channel that's going to open up the panel to anybody that's a Saints fan. We're gonna continue doing that. Your voice is worth everything over here. Your voice is everything over here, Who That Nation. So we're going to be opening up the panel, and we want to hear your opinions. Your opinion matter. Okay? So subscribe to the Battle Sports Show podcast, and y'all have a great night. I'm out of here.